Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for New Sports. Victor Allen's own unique insight into the world of sports. Hot, sexy. Ladies and gentlemen, here he is, the tall, dark, handsome one. Here's Vic.
All that straining doesn't help the intro in this program, but that's okay. This is what we call transitioning. Mac, I'm sorry, man. Look, welcome to New Sports, man. I can't wait to see it, man. You're going to have to get it back. But anyway, welcome to New Sports. We're going to talk about the subject that I believe is going to be akin and measured, almost like when you say the words Kent State. It will live in infamy and forever, and that is. And I tweaked this saying a little bit. I said, can all the king's horsemen and all the king's men put Penn State back together again?
We're going to take a queen.
It's going to take a... Hey, look, and I'm not laughing at this. I'm just saying. I said the tip of the iceberg.
They're toast.
This is one of those things where I'm not going to even talk about what we covered yesterday. This is really about what I think they're doing. They only have one face that can remotely take the focus, and that's Joe Paterno. Because when you think Penn State, you only think football.
Well, they already dealt with that. He's going to retire, but the head that's going to roll, which is one that is coming up in the conversation, is of the university president.
Oh, he's already been, they've already told him.
So,
trustees have already reported that he's being replaced.
Well, that's what the reports are saying. Reports are coming out, even though we still haven't heard the exact. Just like we heard that Coach Joe Paterno was going to be resigning at the end of the season. As from what I understand, it would look like he was going to probably resign at the end of the season also.
Right.
Anyway.
Right.
But so the plot thickens.
Yeah. Here's the part that, and I didn't even have to wait for anyone to tell me this, but a lot of people are saying this. Number one, the idea that you think Joe Paterno, by saying he's removing himself in a retiring fashion at the end of the season, says that football trumps the scandal of what's happened to these kids. So the question I came in with, should Joe Paterno remove himself from any direct coaching immediately? Yes, immediately. Let me just say why I think that right offhand. You expect to have this game that's coming up, Nebraska, and the following games where the complete focus is going to be on the competition. That's it. That you're living in this world where Mark, did you read the court documents? I sent that on Facebook, the actual grand jury documents.
No.
PMC read it. All the news agencies got it. When you read the details, at this, and that's all they're responding to. They're going, all the answers about what ifs, how it was reported, everything is clear as day and it's graphic. So at this point, I think the trustees and everybody is saying, we're doing you guys a favor by letting Joe Paterno stay as the face of Penn State throughout the season. I'm saying you need to remove him now. What you're saying is football is more important than the victims. And so he's going to be coaching, and that his face will trump all the controversy. And I think the move is not about legal. It's not about he did anything wrong. I think they're just taking for granted there won't be a backlash. What do you think?
Oh, I think there's going to be a backlash. I think when you look at it, I think that's what they're trying to assess, and that's why they're probably not making the moves. In other words, there's still a bunch of support for him. If you remove him, I'm not sure that makes it less controversial for the rest of the season as opposed to sticking it out. I actually don't know which would be worse. To tell you the truth, sticking it out or removing him. Because you're in the middle of the season. If you weren't in the middle of the season, I think it would be an automatic. But because you're in the middle of the season, I don't know if then I just don't know. But in terms of the president, I think that could be immediate.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be immediate.
Because it's something, well, it has to do even where administratively, here's the thing. See, administratively, it mostly falls on the president because of the university things, but on a moral, personal level,
right?
Every individual.
Yes.
And that's not the same as a legal level.
I know.
In other words, he's
been
not
separated.
He's not. He's not. He's not required to go because first of all, he really, it's secondary with him. It's hearsay.
Right.
In other words, when someone tells you about a crime, you go to the police. Sometimes they don't want to hear that even because it's hearsay.
Right.
You're not even the person who witnessed it, but being who he is, a person of that kind of influence, there's still the more ethical obligation to go to the authorities. And so, but as in terms of a scandal, the fact that they would do nothing, it looks kind of like the priests.
You made the perfect analogy, which
It
everybody's
looks like,
already said.
It looks like the Catholic Church.
The part that they're saying is the grand jury reports tells you about the graduate assistant, this big 28-year-old hulking guy, and him being distraught, going to his father, and his father saying, get away from there. Move away from there. Come from there. I said, so the part that everybody's going around, I said, nobody put their hands up to say, let's go rescue the child. No one. Not Joe, not Michael, not his father, not the president, not Mark Schultz, not the senior VP. They all didn't say, let's go get that 10-year-old child who's being violated. So to me, I go, Joe Paterno doesn't get a pass. He didn't raise a hand and say, let's go get the child. No one says it. So the part that I do agree, though, on one hand, to consider, is that Penn State seems not to want to act to give the illusion that there is some guilt if they don't have the coach there. I think it's a gamble. I think it's one of those gambles where they said, well, if we don't have him coaching, it may be presumed there's some guilt. So let's put him out there. I said, I think it's a bad move.
Well, I'm sure they've already had those legal opinions offered. Any organization has that.
Oh, yeah.
When attorneys come in because the deep pocket is always the university.
Right.
So the children can sue the university.
Right.
So that's where there's a bunch of liability issues. And these are the kind of things that are known to bring in $1 million plus settlements.
True.
So they do have that whole thing of protecting the university, which is also why I'm sure that the board of trustees is going to step in.
They are,
because they're going to make the president. The president's going to, he's going to have to fall on his sword. President of the university.
He's burnt. See, and just to go, and we kind of understand this because we know it's a business at hand, and the business, it's a bigger consideration here that's going to deal with the fallout of the suits and liability and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
So let me just go to this then. Okay, I already said that I think Penn State's trustees are somewhat misguided in thinking that the moral public is going to be relaxed. And I said, I think you're taking a gamble, but I'm going to leave that alone.
Oh yeah, I don't think they think the public's going to relax. I think that all things considered, that's the best way to handle it.
Yeah, I know
politically, but I don't think I think they expect bad trouble.
Yeah,
and that they're going to get trouble, but that's the way you end up handling it because it's a matter of cutting your losses.
Yeah, the perception out there is that in the public, from all the information, and even from my point of view, is that if you attempt to even put him in that position of Penn State football, Joe Paterno is bigger, then it may be a bigger backlash than you saying, let's just do the best thing right now and have them focus on finding the child, do your thing. But I agree with you. I think the attorneys are doing what they do, and they're taking what they think is the lesser hurt on this. And a lot of people are saying this doesn't, everybody's going,
well,
he
by
doesn't
the
need
way,
to be coaching.
No, well, that's a different thing. Again, I'm not sure that finding the child, it's not a child anymore.
Well, I know.
So
it's a reference
if
to
they
an adult
if they really wanted to be found,
yeah,
they would be found.
Right.
I think if they're not found, it's because they don't want to be found.
No, I agree with that.
So I don't think there should be any efforts meant to harass and try to bring them into the public.
Oh no,
that's exactly what.
No, and let me correct myself. I'm not saying that Joe and them should be doing that. I'm saying the whole message is that none of that is coming from the university as it cares for the person or the victims. It's like their voice is silent, and it's kind of late now because the attorney stepped in and said, "Don't say anything." I got that.
Right, because the attorney's going to tell them. And again, I don't care what business you are.
Right.
They're going to tell you every attorney. Well, they're just going to tell you don't do any admissions of guilt.
Guilt, right? You don't say anything.
So you don't do it. You could certainly make statements that say that you regret that the incident occurred.
Which they've already done.
Those kind of, but you don't do anything that implies responsibility.
Yeah, no, you don't do that at all. Next question. Here we go. Will the NCAA bring the hammer down on Penn State football after the legal, let's say the road is taking its course and its journey. And then they said, now the NCAA, although this is not a football matter per se, like the jocks, something like that, will the NCAA kind of stand back and say, this is really about the victims? Is it really a penalty for the athletic department? I'm not knowledgeable about this, but what do you think?
No.
Think it's going to be totally NCAA
I don't
soft?
I just don't think that I don't think that the athletic department is responsible for the criminal activities of one of their people in the form of advancing some kind of an NCAA
no punishment
response. Yeah, I don't see where the grounds for the punishments would be. Specifically, when the people, you can make the argument that no laws would. Let's put it like this: if I was Joe Paterno, if he was to receive any type of things like that, he has a lot of legal grounds on which to fight it.
Yeah.
He has first, basically, even though you may not like it,
right,
he's essentially violated no laws.
Which everybody's admitted.
It's not an issue of the athletic department.
That's what I'm saying.
So therefore, I cannot see really any way that the only way the university is at any risk is to civil suits.
Right.
Where the people sue to say that but not to any.
So it's zero.
Right.
No penalty. That's what I was saying. There'll be no penalties in this.
No, even though I don't, and I'm not sure that that it would be proper for them to be involved in that.
Yeah. No, and a lot of people are saying yes, they're tabling these questions. We're not saying that it should be, but the questions are being asked. I
mean, there's a precedent. All you got to do is look, what do you do with any person who's a coach who gets convicted of a felony?
Right.
That's already known. They have a written protocol policy for people who are, and so it's not a matter of what you feel and all this. And they have written policies for people who are convicted of crimes, and so it doesn't change based on the sentiment.
Right.
It's there and for those legal reasons.
Right. Yeah, and sometimes you see a blurriness of the interpretation as it relates to whether the law and tying it to sports, but not in this situation. This is NCAA. This is not professional.
I mean, some things, it depends on the incidents. Remember now. In other words, some things legally leave it that way and other things don't.
Right.
So some, even when you might want to create that, it makes a difference if you have something that legally occurs,
right,
or is part of that.
And it's the first, and this is new territory. So it's a lot that we don't know legally. We don't know what the conditions are. So this is brand new territory.
Well, again, when we say brand new territory, only in terms of the public hearing. In other words, coaches who do wrong and get caught.
Oh no, I'm talking about the violation. I'm talking about the actual act where it's new territory. They don't have the precedent. I
bet you there are coaches who have had sex with minors.
Oh yeah,
had a bunch of that. So all the issues are actually new. I mean, not new. They're the same old issues. It's just that you're hearing about it because it's Penn State.
Well, see,
but having teachers or coaches or any of those who commit crimes with children,
that I know.
It's actually
that I
every
know.
day.
Right. See, the part that I'm looking at is because it's of this organization where it seems to be that they will do some things that are not the traditional. I've heard reports about athletic coaches, violations, things that they've done, sex crimes. The issue is Penn State going to get a different treatment? And the part that I think is happening, people are questioning, it's not just me, they're saying, watch and let's see what they do.
I'm just not sure what's the different treatment. What would be the different?
We don't know yet.
To me, if you compare this inaccurately to other situations,
right,
you might attempt to infer that but I don't. There's no room. There's nothing for the NCAA to do here, so I don't see it as a preferential thing.
Well, I don't know.
I see it specifically based on what the charges are, where they occurred, what happened, all those things.
Right.
I don't think it has anything to do with the NCAA.
Yeah, well, I think people are trying. Hey, look, I'm saying we're saying the same thing. That's why I posed the question. I said, look, the NCAA is probably feeling good about it because they don't have to step up and do anything. Posing the question, it's the part that the question is still being asked, and from better people and more knowledgeable and legally, who are addressing that it's a possibility. They'll try, they'll attempt, but we have to wait it out when all the details are fleshed out. All right, we're going to go over to the next one. This is The $100 million man, New England has to save face on this one, because when you have a $100 million man, his name is Albert Haynesworth, and he plays 6 games and has a total of 3 tackles. Was this a failure? Or was it a disconnect? Or did he not conform to the Belichick way? And, he really, really, for the most part, made no impact. So does this make Shanahan at Denver look more correct about his attitude towards Albert, and Belichick found out, so that's why they released him? Or do you just think they was the same old Albert? He lost his skills. What do you think it is, Martin?
Well, still someone made the decision to pay him. I mean, that's what coaches get judged on, to me. So, I mean, it's hard not to be judged on it. He got away with it. He got away with it. He got away with it, and it explains how his last year was. And right now, where else I know who might take him, the Raiders.
Oh, no, that's terrible. No,
they
okay.
know for taking everybody.
Yeah, well, I agree with you. I agree with you. But here's the part where I'm saying it's New England doesn't have to pay the bulk of his salary because it's already been covered by someone else. So they came out winning on this low investment. The $100 million man is still going to get paid no matter what. So it just kind of led me to the next question. The next question is, have we seen the best days of Albert Haynesworth behind him, or he just needs to be in another organization? It didn't work in Washington. It didn't work in New England. Is it just maybe he needs another organization, or did he lose his skills? What do you think?
I think they're certainly going to look at it. I don't know, and it's amazing because you haven't heard anything. But I'm sure people know.
Yeah.
In other words, you sure don't have any trouble hearing people talking about Tim Tebow in practice.
No, I know.
So I'm sure people know what Albert Haynesworth is like in practice.
Right. And, he came in having some injuries and not coming in full force. That's no excuse because they still got him in on the time he needed to be there.
I'm sure, like I said, I'm sure this is a known thing.
Right.
Just like T.O. not getting any looks. I'm sure people know. And I think you could take it as the proof. Obviously, the people who are coaching him don't feel like he has it. Right. And are willing to cut their losses.
Now, let me ask you this, because it made me think about a couple of other players. Under the Belichick regime, they got Randy Moss, who was there for a year and is somewhat productive but couldn't make it for the next year. They got Ocho Cinco, who's yet to make any impact whatsoever, unfortunately, and still probably trying to learn this halfway through the season. And then they lose out on Albert Haynesworth. Does it appear to me, does it appear to you that there's a Belichick Patriot way that's for specific players? Because these high-profile players seem not to pan out. Or is it just happens to be one of those things, hey, they're no different than any other player?
No, I think it is what it is, bad coaching choices.
Yeah.
In other words, see, I guess people are surprised when you go along and you make good choices. And then one day you make bad choices. But even though I would suggest to people, if you look at people's careers, that's typical. Most people don't make wonderful choices through their whole career. Statistically, it's just not going to happen. So I think it is what it is. It represents Bill Belichick made some bad choices, and you just happen to name them all in a row. Yeah. Even though to me, you could argue, I don't know that Randy Moss was a bad choice for them. To me, it didn't hurt them at all. They got out of it. What do they want? Yeah. I don't know actually the monies for like Chad, and even with Albert Haynesworth, I don't know exactly what all the contingencies were with the money. Right. But I can tell you this: usually when they cut you, that means it's more more money saved by cutting you. Right. Or else they're not going to just cut you. They might as well just keep you around. Right. So the fact that they cut him, they may not be paying the whole thing.
Oh, no, they're paying real low. Matter of fact, and I'll confirm the reports, it's somewhere where it's just a couple of $1 million because they just had to, they didn't inherit the contract. They had their own deal. So it's one of those things where they say it was low investment on their part, and still he couldn't stay around. So it was low cost on him, and he still didn't make it.
So maybe it wasn't a bad move. Maybe it was a good move. He took a look at a prize player, right? Didn't spend any money, right? Found out that he wasn't worth it, let him go at almost no cost. So it looks kind of smart to me.
Yeah. And do you think maybe Haynesworth, he's 30, almost 31, can bounce back? Or have we seen the best days?
I have no idea because he hasn't shown. It makes you wonder because he didn't show anything
Right.
with Washington.
Yeah.
So now you wonder if that's why.
Yeah. And when you're next to Will Fork on the defense, and you're the two biggest guys, you thought that they would work off of each other. And the idea, I didn't even think about the stats out there that he only had 3 tackles in 6 games. That is horrible. I mean, for somebody who's been hailed the way he has, 3 tackles is piss poor. All right, let me go over to Do You Believe to take us out of here. We're going to Do You Believe. The subject's going to stay here for a while, and we'll probably wear it out the way we're wearing out Tim Tebow, but somebody's got to talk about it. Do you believe, come the 2012 football season, the complete Penn State coaching staff will be replaced?
Oh, I don't know.
Hard to say.
I don't know because I don't know them. They may want just because of this.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. You would wonder. They lean, but maybe is there a favorite son on there to take over? I don't know. I thought maybe Joe Paterno. Usually guys like that, they have somebody groomed behind them.
Yeah.
Maybe that was Sandusky.
Oh, that's wrong.
Yeah, it's terrible, but I'm just saying, usually they have somebody groomed, and if he did, I don't know that they would not use them.
Yeah.
Depending on how close they were to the scandal.
Yeah, and I don't know. I know his son actually stepped up to speak on his behalf when they had reporters at his home yesterday. I just don't know his role at all. And I know his son is saying, hey, I'll tweet you guys when I get more information. So maybe he's just an informational conduit.
Is he a coach? Is his son a coach?
I don't know. I have to verify that. I thought like you that Jerry Sandusky was the one preeminently the next one in line. But I can't say. So
usually, well, as far as I know, most of the time when they get a new head coach, the head coach, especially if it's a prestigious head coach,
right,
is allowed to pick his own staff.
Right.
So if they're going to replace Joe Paterno and they get anyone who's worth his salt,
right,
I'm sure he will replace his own staff. So, we'll bring his own staff. So whether or not people stay or go, doesn't mean it has to go with the university. It may just have to do with the fact they have a new coach.
Right. Right.
So I don't know. It depends who the head coach is.
Yeah. Oh, but it's yet to be determined. Like I said, right now it's going to take time, and they still got a few games left in the season, so things will pan out as it goes. Now, I just threw up this Do Believe. I know nothing about the amount of suits or anything, but I just wondered. The legal thing is going to step in here with the Penn State University scandal. Do you think it may involve, if it deals with the victims and their families, in excess of $200 million suits? Or, I have no knowledge. It could be less or it could be more. Do you think it's that big?
Well, I think it may be that big because, well, first of all, the size of the request has nothing to do with legitimacy of the complaint.
Right.
It has to do with who you're suing.
Right.
So, because you have this type of thing, people feel very customarily to ask for even outrageous sums of money because you can ask for whatever you want. You can just pull it out of the air. You can snatch whatever figure you want. They're going to give you based on other things.
Right.
So you certainly may exceed $200 million because what you have is a civil situation where it looks like the university did not act in its proper ways because of the president. That leaves them liable. And because they are a huge university, you're going to get millions of dollars just to go away.
True.
So they're going to get millions. Now, $200 million is a lot of money. I don't know if you're going to get that.
Right.
And for that $200 million, you'd have to have the people who were affected come forward and actually detail to an extreme degree their damages.
True.
So, and I don't know if you're going to get like you said, they can't even find one of the people.
Yeah, you can't. Like I said, this is a figure that still has all these conditions that we don't know of. So this is really high speculative.
But they sure may find it when they realize they could be spending, $100 million or
right.
And it certainly could involve because again, it's a civil suit, involves child abuse.
Yeah, that's
very. Lot of emotion goes into those things. You have a huge deep pocket with the university being there. So, some attorney's going to take it, and all the attorneys going to take it on, consignment. They're going to,
Yeah, no, I agree. It's one of those, it's a high profile, so we do know that a lot of people will want to take this on. Okay, well, that's it. I wish I had a better do you believe to get out of it. I'm going to leave it for Monday. In the meantime, no sexiness in this report today. Unfortunately, folks, let's just move on to hot takes. That time.
All right, everybody, that's been New Sports, dealing with today's world of sports. Hot, sexy, controversial. That's Victor Allen's own unique view. It's New Sports.
That was the most tame exit he's done for me in a long time. That one, brother, you can can that one.